Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and I'm going to review Bullet Head. Bullet Head. Oscar winner Adrian Brody, Antonio Banderas, and John Malkovich deliver the action in this riveting crime story filled with pulse pounding twists and turns. After pulling off the heist of a lifetime, three career criminals find themselves trapped in a warehouse with the law closing in. But inside the warehouse, a more dangerous threat awaits, as the fugitives are plunged into a furious battle for their lives. This is rated R. It's a 2017 film, runs about an hour and a half. And, well, you got told who's in it. Yeah, Bullethead. I'm just gonna get into the notes. Um, the beginning is creepy, but it like leads you down a hallway, and it has you as kind of the person going down the hallway, and then they get to the end of it, and there's two dogs staring at you, and they come running at the camera, and then it goes to the next scene. I don't like being teased, and I don't like sets and situations with no conclusion. It never does come back to that scene and show what happens. And I don't appreciate that whatsoever. There are basically two pointless stories in this movie. It takes 10 to 15 minutes of the movie for pointless stories. Now, I know the quote unquote bad guy of movies is supposed to like tell you their whole plan and, lay out every detail while he has you tied to a chair. Those kind of movies are just funny, right? This one, the bad guys are talking to each other and they're waiting around for stuff to happen and they're just talking about nothing. There's nothing. There's no point to the stories that they're telling. And I don't get that. I don't know if that's a new strategy of sucking, but it was pointless. And I did not appreciate it. I was sitting there bored. I'm like, what? Why are we listening to this? If it has nothing to do with the whole story and, the eventual goal of them getting money and surviving, what's the point? It has like three or four flashbacks, and I don't think they help at all. The only one that matters is at the end. It's Antonio Banderas' character. It tells how he meets this dog. That's the only credible flashback I saw in the whole film. Okay, so the backline story of this, and it says on the sleeve, is that John Malkovich and Adrian Brody get the heist of a lifetime, right? That's what it just said. It never tells us what the heist was, never tells us how much they made from it. We get hinted that they have a safe somewhere, but they never show them trying to break the safe. They never get away with that money, and they never really come back to focusing on that heist. So, what ends up happening in this movie is that they find out that there was a dog fighting ring in the building that they're hiding out in. And there's a bunch of money just laying on the table. Isn't that convenient that nobody's around and there's a bunch of money around on just laying on a table? So they decide to steal that. What's the point of having the heist of a lifetime if you're going to just steal some stupid money from a dog fighting ring that you just happen to stumble upon? So then they create an enemy in Antonio Banderas that they didn't need to create an enemy in. And then he ends up being the guy at the end. He basically gets to come in on the end of the movie there because it's his money that they're stealing. And it's his dog that is terrorizing them in this building. And that's what ends up happening to them. That ends up being their downfall. It's kind of ridiculous that it even went that way. I mean, most criminals in most movies are focusing on how to get out of the situation that they're in. These guys just keep digging themselves darker into the hole, not trying to climb their way out. I don't understand it. So, um, other than that, everyone should die, and then they end the movie saying that Adrian Brody does survive, but they don't explain how, even though he gets pretty messed up. And the only nice thing I can say about this movie is that there is a dog, and abusing dogs is wrong. And in this movie, we get to see a lot of it. It's kind of hard to watch. And then Adrian Brody, like, is being attacked by the dog, and the dog kind of messes up and gets stuck, and Adrian Brody rescues it and says, "Okay, now don't eat me," and he kind of creates a friend in it. So that was kind of a nice, touching connection between criminal and vicious dog killer, and they both kind of understand, that they're both kind of at the lowest point that they can be at. So it's nice to kind of be with somebody, but this whole dogfighting thing is terrible, and having dogs being shot and beaten and clubbed, it's all really hard to watch, and there's really no point to it being in the movie. Literally. The whole dog clubbing thing, that was part of the pointless story number one, and the dog being shot at the end is because Antonio Banderas is creating enemies that he doesn't need. They're stealing money that he probably doesn't care about because he has so much. Everything about this movie is kind of horrible, and I'm really sorry about that because I like most of these actors except Adrian Brody, which I just cannot connect with. I've never really had a movie of his that I can connect with, and I'm sorry about that. So, thank you guys for trying to make a decent movie. It just flopped for me, and I hope it flops for everybody else. If you watch this movie, beware. It is hard to watch. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other reviews, try and give them a try, and like and subscribe to my channel if you want to, and just beware of hard to watch movies. This is one of them. Bullet Head. It's the name. And nobody really gets a bullet in the head either, by the way. Just a spoiler there. So I'm gonna have to give it a D minus. It was hard to watch. Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy your movies.